Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Mr. Osem Wasapi, and in this video we'll be looking at trig differentiation. To be precise, we'll just be looking at some basic trig differentiation. Alright, so before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Alright, let's get to it. So we'll start with the first one, which will be sine. So suppose you've been given a function as f of x being equal to sine of something, sine something. Alright, so the derivative of this should be f prime of x will be the derivative of sine. Derivative of sine times something, then again times the derivative of something. So given a function as sine something, the derivative will be the derivative of sine times something times the derivative of something. Let's understand this with an example. Say f of x is equal to sine of 4x squared. So f prime of x will be the derivative of sine, which is cos, times something, which is 4x squared, times the derivative of something. If you apply the power, you have 8x. And the final answer will be f prime of x being equal to 8x cos of 4x squared. Just like that. Let's move on to the second one. Say you have a function f of x and it's equal to cos something. This implies that the derivative, which is f prime of x, will be the derivative of cos times something times the derivative of something. So suppose we have an example given f of x being equal to cos of 4x squared. The derivative will simply be f prime of x being the derivative of cos. The derivative of cos is simply negative sign times something, which is 4x squared, times the derivative of something, which will be 8x. And you have f prime of x being equal to negative 8x sine of 4x squared. Simple as that. Say you have f of x being equal to tan something. So basically the procedure is the same. F prime of x is equal to the derivative of tan times something times the derivative of something. As simple as it is. So say we have an example. F of x is equal to tan of 4x squared. This implies that f prime of x will be equivalent to the derivative of tan, which is sec squared. So it will be sec squared of something, which is 4x squared, times the derivative of something, which will be 8x. Therefore, f prime of x is equal to 8x sec squared of 4x squared. And this will be our final answer. This one is a bit different. Say you have f of x being equal to sec something. So the derivative will be f prime of x being equal to the derivative of sec times something times the derivative of something. Now, be mindful of this. The derivative of sec is equivalent to tan something times sec something. So basically, the derivative will then be f prime of x being equal to tan something times sec something times the derivative of what? Something. The something here is omitted. So, suppose we have an example given f of x being equal to sec of 4x squared. It implies that f prime of x will be equal to tan of 4x squared sec of 4x squared times the derivative of 4x squared, which would be 8x. Therefore, f prime of x will be equal to 8x tan of 4x squared sec of 4x squared. And this is the final answer. Alright, let's move on. Say you have a function f of x being equal to cot something. So if you have f of x being equal to cot something, it implies that the derivative of this will simply just be the negative of cosec or cosecant, so cosecant squared something times the derivative of, okay, basically let's put it in a simple way, in a manner that we use. So this would be the derivative of cot times something times the derivative of something. Alright, so be mindful of this. The derivative of cot is basically cosecant. So let's understand this with an example. Say you have f of x being equal to cot of 4x squared. So f prime of x is equal to the derivative of cot, which is negative cosecant squared of something, which is 4x squared, times the derivative of that particular something, which will be 8x. So therefore, f prime of x is equal to negative 8x cosecant squared of 4x squared. Just like that. The last one is, say you have a function f of x is equal to cosec of something, cosec something. So for this one, what you have to do basically is the same procedure. F prime of x will be equivalent to the derivative of cosec times the derivative of something. Because if we say times something, that something will be cancelled out. Now, you need to know this. The derivative of cosec is equal to negative cot something times cosec something. Negative cot something times cosec something. Now, cosec is cosecant, which is CSC. So I prefer writing it in this manner. Alright, so this implies that if you have an example of this kind, given that f of x is equal to cosecant of 4x squared, this implies that f prime of x is equal to negative cot something, and something is 4x squared, times cosecant, so CSC, of 4x squared times the derivative, which will be 8x. Therefore, f prime of x is equal to negative 8x cot of 4x squared cosecant of 4x squared. This is the final answer. All right, so now one thing you should know is this, just some hints. Be mindful that sine goes with cos, then cos goes with a negative sign. So every time you see a c, let's say this is the f of x function, and this is the derivative of prime of x. So if the original function is having a c, just know the derivative will be negative. Then be mindful that tan goes with sec squared, and sec goes with tan sec, tan x, sorry, tan sec, cot goes with cot sec squared, sorry, that's CSC squared. Then, sorry, negative. Then cosec goes with negative cosec, cot, sorry, negative cot, then cosec. So if I put a dash, then there's something that should be there. All right, so be mindful of this. There are many ways you can find means of understanding these things, but just go through the video over and over again. You get a hang of it. Alright, so my name is Mr. Sen Mosapi. Thanks for watching. If you have questions, you can contact me on WhatsApp with the number here, or the number I'll put in my description. Remember to strategize before you become a statistic, and let's try and push for that A+.